Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. We are at 215 Martin Luther King Boulevard. We are going to try to do a repair on this shingle here. It's a 3-tab asphalt composite roof. It's a very, very beautiful 64 degrees out. We have outlined our scope of work here. We're going to go through the outlining of the scope, why we outlined it the way we did. We're going to go over our left and right limits in terms of identifying damage and limitations in that, and our procedures as well. But first, I just want to walk around the roof and give you a general overview as to why we picked this particular shingle, and there's a very good reason for it. As we walk around the roof, when you do a repair such as this, and this is a proof of principle repair, when you do a repair, you need to find a shingle that is isolated from other damaged shingles. So you notice these shingles, they're not isolated from each other, but also isolated from other components like a valley, or like this one where the tab's actually missing. It's not a full shingle. It's cut. So that one, it's a half, so it's a 2.5 versus a full 3. So that one doesn't qualify. This one we have involvement with a valley. That one we have 2 shingles and they're involved with the valleys, but they're also too close to one another. We have a tab here that's connected with the hip. We have shingles there that are difficult to access, and they're involved either with hip or with other components here that makes them not valid. We have a damaged shingle there, but that is too close to the flashing to be a good proof of principle. We have damage up here, too close to the furnace stack. Again, involvement with the solar panels and the pipe jack. Again, same thing, they're involved with the solar panels. Makes it impossible to do a proof of principle there. Let's walk around here. They are too close to the hip and the ridge. Same thing there, too close to the hip and the ridge to affect even a proper repair in general, but especially for this practice, they are tied in both to the solar panel and the conduit. This here is tied and runs directly under the solar panel, and these are both tied in either to the solar panels and the ridge. That makes that impossible for a proof of principle and for a regular repair in general. As you can see, it gets pretty hard to find one on this roof. This one's directly tied into the hip. This is our control square. As you can see, we have damaged tabs that are directly in their own scope of work, and they tie directly to the ridge again, which disqualifies those. This over here was another possible option, but again, you have damaged shingles that are directly in one another's scope, then that also tie right into the rake edge. Again, tabs that are either on the ridge and or affecting the solar panels. Again, the same thing here, and again, same thing down there. And of course, we have shingles in that lovely, very difficult to access spot in the dead space in between the solar panels as well. So try doing a proof of principle repair in there, and you're a better man than me. We have again involvement with the hip and the solar panel, and again, same thing here, hip and solar panel. This one is just the solar panel that goes directly under. Same thing for this one, goes directly on the solar panel, and this is hip and solar panel. So there is one spot on this roof for us to do a full, proper, by the code and compliant and remaining compliant repair attempt. And that is this spot right here. So if you're wondering, why did you choose that particular specific spot? That's why. Because the roof, the way the roof has sustained and encountered damage from this particular storm, just doesn't permit any other way. It's going to be a heck of a doozy to try to figure out how to do repairs on this roof. It's going to be nightmarish to have to lift all these hips and ridges and solar panels. But we'll address that later. Right now we're doing, again, a proof of principle. We have a new shingle we're going to place in. So the process is you unseal the shingles on the damaged one there. Then you unseal, you have one damaged shingle or tab. You unseal the other tabs. And then you unseal one row above and 2 rows above. Once you do that, you pull the nails out. So the nails are here and there. Once you do that, the old one comes out. You observe it for any additional damage you may not have identified. Then you put your new one in. You slide that in, and you attach new fasteners. Always use brand new fasteners. Don't ever use old nails. That's just bad practice, and also you can cause a leak that way. And you're never going to be able to find a warranty for that. So, now, what are we looking for in terms of what we're trying to prevent for damage? Obviously, a lot of people already know about creasing, which, you know, often looks like this. It's that black line. This can look a lot of different ways. Sometimes it's all the way down to the fiberglass mat like this. Sometimes it's just the very beginning stages. Sometimes it's a full, complete tear. I hope we're not going to have that today. That would be really catastrophic. But sometimes it's more subtle. It always starts as granulose, so it's a GLS. Now, on an older roof, you are going to have some amount of granulose. So if you see a little granules trickling down, that's not a big deal. It's when it starts cascading down, that's when you start to credit it as damage. That's the way you have granulose, and that's why the National Academy of Forensic Engineers, they also credit granulose in a significant amount as damage during a repair attempt. Because you can't just glue those granules back in. Once they're gone, they're gone. We also look at tearing, and this is specific to the fastening point at the nail heads. When you're prying up nails using the green roof snake from Pack Tool, the nails can sometimes tear horizontally or vertically through the shingle. Now, if it pops out or pops through, that's one thing, but you're looking for a horizontal or vertical tear. Now, of course, you try to prevent that, but if it does happen, we will document that. You have MT, which stands for material transfer. That's when, and of course this is the damage one, but when you pop that shingle, right, the adhesive that bonds that down can sometimes overwhelm the shingle on the bottom and the top, pulling some of the shingle from the bottom or the top, and you'll see a divot. Now over here, this is a good example. You'll see here, that's some of the residue from the old adhesive. And this is kind of what it's supposed to look like. You don't see like a chunk down or a chunk up. That's a good example of what it's supposed to look like. Now, you shouldn't be missing shingles, period. But that's kind of what it's supposed to look like. There's no divots. There's no chunks. If we had material transfer on this, you'd see like a buildup here, or even a divot, like think of golf, where it takes a piece of earth with it when you swing too low. That would be a divot there. That is considered damage. Again, oftentimes I get asked, well, how come you can't just put some roof tar on there? Because it doesn't make a tight seal like it was before. The whole goal is to repair it and put it back like it was before, and it just does not seal like it did before, and it will never, it won't bring it back the way it was before, and B, you're still dealing with a shortened life expectancy of the shingle. And then imp. Imp is not those gnarly little creatures that keep you up at night. That is impact damage from the tool. It is a known issue with the roof snake. We do our best to avoid it, but I'll talk you through what impact damage could look like and how it often occurs when the tool is used properly as described by the manufacturer. It's not always, so sometimes it does not happen, but if it does happen, again, we'll point it out. So I'll hand the camera off to my camera person. Oh, before we do that, let's go over, take a look at our control square. You kind of saw it before, but this is our control square, just to show the condition of the roof. We're not going to touch, walk on, manipulate this area in any way. Just so you kind of see what the roof looks like before, as a comparison of before and after. Also, we'll zoom in on this. Now, the reason our scope is expanded on the lower portion with this area is because we will be lifting tabs in our work area on this, and if we have material transfer here, it will affect this bottom row. So if that material transfer exists or occurs here and there, it affects and damages this bottom row, and we will have to notate that because we don't actually handle the control square, we don't have to include it. If we do identify any kind of damage, we will pause the procedure, not the video, but the procedure. I'll call the cameraman over and identify it and point it out so we can capture it and show you what it looks like. But hand the video over and we'll get started. Once he confirms that he has me in view, and more importantly, not my ugly mug, but the roof. And you see everything in the work area, all right? Alrighty. Now this is the green roof snake. I get my fuzz out of there. Green roof snake from Pack Tool. This is the prying end, and this is the nailing end. This is for breaking the seals and pulling out nails. So you'll see how it works. We'll lift the shingles here and here, and then just go up on our way. I'm going to put my hand over the shingle tab, not pressing down, not digging in, just as a guard. Sometimes these shingles, when you pop them, they tend to pop violently. So by putting your hand over it, you're just giving yourself a little extra protection. So if they do suddenly pop, they don't pop aggressively and cause a sudden aggressive crease. You're trying to prevent damage, remember. It's already lifted, as we know. The damage tab. That one was kind of lifted already. That's all right. That one too. All right. So I'm going to peek under the shingles, kind of see how they look, see if there's any material transfer. Nothing major, nothing super important. Notice I'm only this one. Nope, good. It's a little bit there. We'll be able to see it when the shingle comes out. There is material transfer there. So notice I'm only lifting a few inches. So right there, if you can see on the camera there, I want you to go ahead and zoom in. Actually, if you, whoop, alrighty. So I'm only lifting shingle a few inches. If you can see that, right where I'm pointing, and I'll get the chalk too and highlight it and circle it. Right there, if you can see where I've circled, right there, there's a chunk, and we don't want to lift it too high. About 3 inches now. If you can see where I'm pointing there. There's a divot there showing material transfer. I'm going to stay here in case we see anything more here. Nothing on that one, so that's not too bad. There's a little bit right there. Again, I'll mark it. You see that on the camera there? Yeah. And again, right there, there's a little bit there. I can feel under there. Not a big chunk, but it is definitely present there. And yeah, nothing right there. So we definitely have two. So mark there and there for positive signs of material transfer. So now we're going to start pulling nails. Again, notice we only lifting shingles a couple inches, and that's all you really need to do when you're checking for mat transfer. You don't have to get crazy, you don't have to get super aggressive, and you can just use the roof snake to lift when you're looking like that. And this is when, if you're going to have tearing at the nail heads, this is what's going to happen. So you got to be careful you're not being too aggressive. You see me flip nails like that, I'll come back and get them later. It's also why when you pull nails, always start with your damaged one, that damaged shingle. Because if you have tearing, well, this one's already damaged, but it will inform you to the condition of the roof. Like I am starting to get some tearing on this one, so it does tell me I have to be real ginger with the rest of this roof. This is a damaged one anyway, so whoop, that one tore badly. Okay. And the nails, what I'm seeing is nailed right in the strike zone. Not too high, not too low. That came out nice and easy. Not too high, not too low, so it's a good nailing job. Sign of a good installation. It's one of the easiest ways to tell you have a bad install. If the nails are put in too high or too low. These are right where they're supposed to be. And this one right here, before I even try to get the nail out, you see there's a little bit creasing. So I'm going to actually pause here. If you want to come over here, you see right there, it comes out in the video, but as I lift here, you kind of see right there has been creasing right there, tearing right there. You can see the nail zone right here, which is where the nail was. Then you come down here as the shingle is being lifted up to pull that nail. And then again, this is right where the the material transfer was. They're not totally unrelated. There's a tear right there. All right, still got me in view?
Yep.
All right. We got another tear right here as well. Use this to hold it up. We got another tear right there, if you can see. I don't want to push it too hard because it'll make it worse. But I do have some tearing underneath there. With this out, I should be able to pull this right out. Unless there's a nail that I missed. Yeah. All right. So before we pull this out all the way, we should be able to identify the shingle pretty easily, based on what the cellophane tape says on the back. Shingle manufacturers love to brand their own material, just like a tag on the back of your shirt. So hopefully we should be able to identify, is it GAF, is it CertainTeed, Temco, Owens Corning, whatever. They don't always say Owens Corning. Like Owens Corning says do not remove, non-say whatever the Spanish is. It says do not remove, and then it says it in Spanish. Temco will say Temco. CertainTeed has a little triangle that says CertainTeed Collection on it. GAF, it'll have a triangle on it. It says MY or wherever the facility was, and then a lot number. Atlas will say Atlas. ICO will have PY, and then the serial number. So let's flip this over and see what we got. Here's the cellophane tape, and nothing. So that tells us this was manufactured quite a long time ago. It also tells us that we can't really identify it. So we're going to have a hard time affecting repairs on a roof when we can't find a compatible shingle. We don't know it for 100% certain. We are putting in a GAF shingle. You can see in the back here. Flip it upside down so we can see it. You can tell it's a GAF shingle because you always have that arrow there. And here we have MY, that's the plant it was made in. 4442, that's your lot number, and then a barcode. If you're nerdy like me, you can scan the barcode. If you have a scanner for GAF, I'll tell you everything about this too. So the arrow is a dead giveaway for GAF. And then MY just tells you where it was, and then 4442 is the lot number, does everything else. So what we do is we slide this in. And it's not a great color. However, you know, New Jersey's not a color matching state. So, you know, we do the best we can sometimes with what we have. For this one, I had 3 different colors in my truck. This was the closest one. Since New Jersey is not a matching state, we do best we can for courtesy of the homeowner. Now, matching means like color, aesthetics, and looks. It doesn't mean like compatibility. If I were to come in and put a laminate shingle in here that matched, you know, the size, that wouldn't be it would look weird, but it wouldn't be compatible. So that's kind of what we mean. It's chemically different. It's structurally different. It's dimensionally different sometimes. It just wouldn't be right. So, is this a compatible different? We don't know yet. We don't know what kind of shingle that is. But the bigger issue now is, can we put it in without any additional damage? And the question right now is, I don't know, but we'll find out. Hopefully there's no damage, but we'll see. Now here's my roofing nails. The way you're supposed to use the roof snake is as follows. Right, you take your nail and you stick it in the little slot here. Right, this is designed so you don't have to lift the shingle too high. You slip it up under the shingle, and so you can nail like this. A problem first is that when you put the nail down, you see how it's kind of loose. Now you can kind of hold it in. It does kind of kick around sometimes, so you gotta be careful. But more than that is, it's under the shingle, so you can't tell really 100% how it's going in. You have to lift this up in the first few strikes. Otherwise, when you're putting it in, it's going in at an angle. And when you're putting nails in at an angle, you're violating every manufacturing instruction on the market. That's no good. So, however, assuming you can get it in without the tool just kicking around. You can get it in straight. To finish it off, once it's in about yay deep, then you put the roof snake on top of here, and it sits like so on the shingle, which, okay, fine, but when you're hammering it, right, the force that hits here on the snake gets transferred down and is also impacting here. So it's like taking your hammer and just railing on the shingles. Now, newer roof, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, not a big deal. It's pretty resistant. But an older roof like this, it's 15, 16 years old, or maybe older on some roofs, it's not as resistant to that. And you're gonna end up with what we talked about before, is impact damage. Now, it crushes the granules and it looks an awful lot like hail damage. And we know it's not hail damage because we know what's causing it. But it doesn't matter what it looks like. What it is that crushed granules and impact damage. So sometimes it even comes this far out of the scope. Usually it's within the scope. Now, we're gonna try our best to minimize it. But routinely it usually comes up 1, 2, 3 times in the course of a repair. So hopefully not. Now, another thing we have to keep in mind is that if the nail goes in crooked and we have to pull it out, or the nail gets bent, which usually happens more often than not, we have to pull that nail. You can't use an old nail hole. So now you got to nail it somewhere else. Now you're putting holes in the roof, and that is damage as well. It's pretty minor because the shingle is going to cover up, but if water backs up under there, it's damage as well. So just things to keep in mind. So here we go. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm down pretty low, so I can kind of see it, but not 100%. Kind of went crooked. I'm going to see if I can correct it. I'm only lifting the shingle about 3 inches now. See if I can fix that. I think we got it. One more. Okay. You get any impact damage? A little bit, but nothing to write home about. So. So, wanted to show you, with putting a nail in, how the shingle is supposed to bend. Right now, as we move up to the actual work area, this shingles, they're pretty rigid. They're pretty inflexible. So this is the newer shingle. It should be okay. Again, there wasn't really any impact damage here, so hopefully, when we're up in here, we shouldn't have any impact damage. Cross our fingers. Let's see if we can get it to go. I'm gonna lift that shingle a couple times. Don't like having to do that, but I think it went in crooked. Yeah, nail bent. Nail bent, right at the head. So our test and sample worked out okay. Imagine that. All right, seems to be going okay. In and a little bit, but not too bad. Oh boy, slipped out and it bent the nail head. But again, I get a little lower and hold that a little. Oh, I think we got it this time. Yep. Yeah. And we do have some impact there. It's not bad, but it's definitely present. And don't put nails in your mouth. Alright, I'm getting some progress now. Alright. Not too bad there. I'll lift the shingle just to check it. And so the new shingle didn't really get any impact. That's good. Not a ton there. That's good. Fella's flip. Nope, good. Alright. Again, have some crush there. Nope. Crush there. Last one. Stuff. Try it. Yeah, that's it. So not really a whole lot on that one. Alrighty, so do we have creasing? Actually, yeah, a little bit. Right there. You can zoom in and see it right there. Wow. Even with the roof snake. So we have some impact there, down here, and then right there on the corner. Then we have creasing. We have the tearing, or the mat transfer, and the tearing over here as well. That nail, oh, that nail, wow. Whew, that deck does not like nails. Interesting. So, we have creasing, yes. We have impact, yes. We have material transfer, yes. We have tearing, yes. We have granule loss, not really. No. So, let's go over to the control square. Again, let's take a look and see that, you can zoom right in there real close. See there's no external creasing, right? That kind of video stands for itself, that anything that happened on the scope of work square was directly because of the work that we had to do. With all this said, we have impact, we have creasing, we have material transfer, we have tearing. And that nail, I'm gonna have to fix that nail. You're gonna take this. The decking is not accepting this nail. What's going on here? Is that gonna come up again. We have a surface that is not solidly sheathed underneath. That's a problem. If the roof deck won't take a nail, I don't know how you expect us to do repair. So that's a problem I had anticipated. Not nailable. I hammered it twice and it's still popping up. So wow, I've never had that before. Regardless, I'm sure all the roofers who are watching this are probably laughing at me right now. You've never had that before? I've had that 1,000 times. All right, well, you can go kick rocks. Anyway, yeah, this is gonna have to be classified as a fail. There is damage. It's not like massive and huge, but it is damage, right? It wasn't there before the repair. Now it is. Material transfer, creasing, tearing, impact damage. It's not nailable. You know, we try to do this, we're going to have to expand the scope. Now we're going to have to address all these other shingles. We're probably going to have to go down to into the wood. So not just tear out shingles, we're going to have to tear out, because of this, the shingles around here, rip up the underlayment to assess the wood underneath to see, is it actually nailable, or am I just hitting like a staple or something, or a clip? Hopefully that's it, but we're going to have to expand this one shingle to probably this whole section just to tear these shingles out, tear the underlayment, just to assess that wood. That's, you know, it's nightmare. We're going to have to go from repair. There's no way we can do a repair on this with all the expanding scope and everything. This just, I don't know what to tell you. You know, if you have any questions, I'll take the camera back now. If you have any questions, give me an email, give me a text, give me a phone call. Otherwise, I'll see you all around the horn.